The autumn festival on New Eden was the happiest day of the year. Families gathered in the central square under strings of golden lights. Children ran between the food stalls, their laughter filling the cool evening air. Parents watched with tired smiles as their sons and daughters played games and chased each other through the crowds. Linda Cole stood near the fountain, holding a cup of warm cider. Her daughter Hannah, 8 years old with messy brown hair, was playing with a group of friends near the stage where musicians performed old Earth songs. Linda watched her carefully, as all mothers do, but she felt safe here. New Eden was a peaceful world. Nothing bad ever happened on New Eden. The first sign of trouble was a strange light in the sky. Someone pointed upward and asked what it was. Then another light appeared, and another. Within seconds, dozens of bright objects descended through the clouds, moving too fast and too precisely to be meteors. The music stopped. The laughter stopped. Everyone looked up. The objects were ships. They were shaped like black triangles with no visible windows or markings. They made no sound as they landed in the fields around the colony. For a moment, nothing happened. The colonists had frozen, unsure whether to run or stay. Then the doors opened. The creatures that emerged were tall and thin, with gray skin and forearms. Their faces had no expression, just flat features and small dark eyes. They wore black armor and carried weapons that glowed with blue light. They moved with terrible purpose, spreading out through the festival grounds in perfect formation. The screaming began when they started taking the children. Linda saw it happen. One of the creatures grabbed a boy near the fountain and pressed something against his neck. The boy went limp instantly. The creature handed him to another, who carried him toward the ships. All around the square, the same scene repeated. Parents tried to fight, but the creatures were too strong and too fast. Anyone who resisted was knocked aside with casual violence. Linda ran toward Hannah. She pushed through the panicking crowd, calling her daughter's name. She saw Hannah standing near the stage, frozen with fear, as one of the creatures walked toward her. "Hannah! Run!" Hannah turned at her mother's voice. She started to move, but the creature was faster. It reached out with two of its arms and grabbed her. Linda screamed and threw herself at the creature, hitting it with her fists, but it barely noticed her. A second creature pushed her to the ground and held her there while the first one carried Hannah away. "Mommy!" Hannah's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. Linda fought against the creature, holding her down, but she could not move. She watched helplessly as her daughter was carried into one of the black ships. The doors closed. The ships lifted off the ground and rose into the sky. In less than 10 minutes, it was over. The creatures were gone. The ships were gone. And 47 children were gone with them. The colony of New Eden was left in ruins. Not physical ruins, the buildings still stood. The lights still burned, but something had been broken that could never be fully repaired. Parents wandered through the square, calling names that no one would answer. Some sat on the ground and wept. Others stood in silence, too shocked to speak. The emergency signal went out within the hour. It reached every human ship and station within 10 light years. It reached Earth, and it reached the patrol vessel Starward Horizon, currently stationed 3 systems away. Commander Nathan Cole was in his quarters when the message arrived. He read it twice, then a third time. His hands began to shake. New Eden, 47 children taken. Among the missing, Hannah Cole, age 8, daughter of Linda Cole, sister of deceased Captain Roger Cole, Hannah, his niece. His brother's daughter, Nathan, was on the bridge within minutes, ordering maximum speed to New Eden. The journey took 14 hours. They were the longest 14 hours of his life. When the Starward Horizon arrived, Nathan took a shuttle down to the surface. He found his sister-in-law sitting in the medical center, wrapped in a blanket, staring at nothing. Her eyes were empty. When she saw Nathan, she started crying again. "They took her," Linda whispered. "They took my baby." Nathan held her and promised he would bring Hannah back. He did not know if he could keep that promise, but he made it anyway. Dr. Laura Bennett, the ship's medical officer, examined the scene with a team of specialists. They found strange equipment left behind by the creatures, scanning devices designed to identify children with specific genetic markers. The creatures had not taken children at random. They had chosen them. Intelligence Officer Daniel Perry identified the creatures from galactic databases. They were called the Kethviri, a species from the far side of the galaxy. They were known to be technologically advanced and politically powerful. They were also known to have no respect for other species. Ambassador Patricia Vance contacted the Galactic Council immediately. She demanded action. She demanded justice. The Council responded with words of sympathy and promises of investigation. They explained that the Kethviri were a sovereign species and that proper procedures must be followed. These things took time. How much time? Vance asked. "Several months," the Council representative replied. "Perhaps a year." "Our children do not have a year," Vance said coldly. "Humanity will not wait for your paperwork while our children suffer." The Council warned against taking unilateral action. They spoke of diplomatic consequences and galactic law. Vance ended the transmission without responding. That night, Nathan stood alone on the observation deck of the starward horizon. He looked out at the stars and thought about Hannah. He remembered teaching her to ride a bicycle. He remembered her laugh, her smile, the way she called him Uncle Nate, even though he always pretended to be annoyed by it. Somewhere out there, she was frightened and alone. Somewhere out there, creatures with no souls had taken her for purposes he did not want to imagine. Nathan made a decision. He would find the Kethviri. He would get those children back. And if anyone tried to stop him, he would go through them. The next morning, Perry came to Nathan with new information. He had intercepted a Kethviri transmission. The children were being taken to a research station for something called biological harvesting. Nathan felt something cold settle in his chest. It was not fear. It was not grief. It was something older and darker, something that humanity had carried since the first parent lost the first child. It was rage. "Set a course," Nathan ordered. "We're going hunting." The starward horizon moved through space like a predator following a blood trail. For 3 days, they tracked the Kethviri ships through jump points and trade routes that most species avoided. The trail led them deeper into unexplored territory, far from any friendly port or allied station. Nathan barely slept. He spent his hours on the bridge, watching the navigation displays, waiting for any sign of their quarry. Dr. Bennett worried about him, but she understood. Everyone on the ship understood. This was not just a mission. This was personal. On the 4th day, Daniel Perry called Nathan to the intelligence center. The young officer looked tired but excited. He had been working without rest, decoding Kethviri communications intercepted from relay stations along their route. "I found something," Perry said. He pulled up a translation on his screen. "The Kethviri have been doing this for centuries. They call it collection. They take young members of other species and use them for medical research." Nathan felt his stomach turn. What kind of research? Their species is dying. Something in their genetics is breaking down. They live shorter lives with each generation. They believe that young specimens from certain species contain regenerative cells that can slow or reverse the process. Specimens. Nathan repeated the word with disgust. That's how they see other species. As resources to be harvested. Barry pulled up more data. They've done this to at least 30 different species over the past 500 years. None of them ever fought back. Why not? Because the Kethveri are powerful. They have advanced weapons, strong fleets, and connections in the Galactic Council. The species they target are usually weak or isolated. They choose their victims carefully. Perry paused. I don't think they expected humans to be different. Nathan allowed himself a grim smile. Then they made a mistake. The stalwart Horizon continued its pursuit. They passed through systems that had never seen human ships. They received warnings from local species to turn back, to leave the Kethveri alone, to accept their loss and go home. Nathan ignored them all. On the sixth day, they encountered a Kethveri patrol, 2 warships guarding a jump point that led deeper into Kethveri territory. The alien ships immediately moved to intercept, broadcasting warnings in their harsh language. They're telling us to surrender, Perry translated. They say we are trespassing in sovereign space. Nathan looked at the tactical display. The Kethveri ships were fast and well-armed. A smart commander might have retreated to wait for reinforcements. Nathan was not feeling smart. He was feeling angry. Battle stations, he ordered. All weapons ready. The fight was short but brutal. Human ships were not as advanced as Kethveri vessels, but human crews trained harder and fought meaner. The stalwart Horizon took damage to its outer hull, but both Kethveri ships were destroyed within 20 minutes. One escape pod was recovered from the wreckage. Inside was a Kethveri officer, badly wounded but alive. Nathan ordered him brought to the medical bay and kept under guard. Dr. Bennett treated the alien's injuries. Though Nathan could see how much it cost her to help a creature whose species had taken children for torture. When the Kethveri officer was stable, Nathan went to speak with him. The alien looked at Nathan with its small, dark eyes. There was no fear in them, only contempt. You cannot stop what has begun, the Kethveri said through a translation device. The specimens are being processed. By the time you find them, there will be nothing left to rescue. Nathan grabbed the alien by its throat. The guards moved to stop him, but he waved them back. Where are they? The Kethveri made a sound that might have been laughter. Do you think I will tell you? Do you think I fear death? I think you fear pain, Nathan said quietly. And I think you fear what my species will do when we find out what you've done to our children. The Kethveri's contempt flickered for just a moment. You are alone. One ship, one crew. The Dominion has thousands of warships. You cannot fight us. No one can fight us. People keep saying that, Nathan said. I keep proving them wrong. He released the alien and stepped back. Put him in a cell. Maybe he'll feel like talking later. The stalwart Horizon pushed forward. They were deep in enemy territory now, surrounded by hostile space, with no allies and no support. The smart move would be to turn back and report their findings to Earth. Let the military handle it. Let the diplomats negotiate. But every hour they waited was another hour those children spent in the hands of monsters. On the 8th day, they received an unexpected visitor. A small diplomatic shuttle appeared on their sensors, requesting permission to dock. It carried Ambassador Uran, a representative of the Galactic Council from a neutral species called the Val. Uran was short and round, with blue skin and large golden eyes. He spoke softly and moved carefully, like someone who had spent his life avoiding conflict. Commander Cole, Uran said when they met in the conference room, I have been sent to urge you to stop this pursuit. The Galactic Council is deeply concerned about the escalating situation. The escalating situation, Nathan repeated. You mean the kidnapping and torture of children? Uran shifted uncomfortably. The Council acknowledges that the Kethveri actions were regrettable. However, diplomatic channels exist to address such grievances. Military action will only make things worse. Diplomatic channels take months. Those children don't have months. Commander, please understand. The Kethviri have never faced consequences for their actions because no species has been willing to challenge them. They are too powerful, too connected. Euron leaned forward. If you continue this course, you will start a war that humanity cannot win. Nathan stood and walked to the window. He looked out at the stars, thinking about Hannah, thinking about all 47 children alone and afraid. Ambassador, he said finally, the Kethviri have never faced humanity. They don't know what we're capable of when someone hurts our children. They don't know that we will burn down the galaxy itself to protect them. That is exactly what the Council fears. Nathan turned back to face Euron. Good. Maybe fear will teach them what diplomacy couldn't? Euron left the ship an hour later. His mission failed. Nathan watched the shuttle disappear into the darkness, then turned to his crew. We found them, Perry reported. Long-range sensors have located a research station orbiting a gas giant 12 hours away. I'm reading 47 human life signs. 47. All of them still alive. Still waiting to be saved. Nathan took a deep breath. Sergeant Gray, prepare your Marines. We're going in. The Kethviri research station hung in the darkness like a metal spider, its long arms extending around the orange glow of the gas giant below. Dozens of ships moved around its supply vessels, patrol craft, and heavy warships designed to keep unwanted visitors away. Nathan studied the station through the bridge display. Somewhere inside that structure, 47 children were waiting. His niece was waiting. The station has 3 main sections, Perry explained, pointing to a holographic model. The outer ring is housing and administration. The middle section is research laboratories. The core is where they keep the subjects. Subjects, Sergeant Marcus Gray said with disgust. He was a big man with a shaved head and arms covered in scars from a dozen battles. They mean our kids. The defenses are heavy, Perry continued. 6 warships in patrol, automated weapon platforms, and at least 200 armed personnel inside the station. What do we have? Nathan asked. 1 ship, 80 Marines, and a lot of anger. Gray smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Anger will be enough. The plan was simple.